Hello and welcome back. So today we're going to cover a book that I found so adorable. We actually were just getting library books. When I take my sons to the library, I let them pick out whatever book they're interested in, and then there's some that I just pick out because I'm interested in them myself. But this was a book that we enjoyed so much that we tried to find it again and we couldn't remember the name, and so we searched for a while to try to find this actual book, and so we found it, and it is a really good book. It's called What About Harry? So this book is by Derek Anderson. He is a New York Times best-selling illustrator, and he wrote a story about these two bears, and it's really cute because Harry is the big bear and there's a little bear that is his friend, and this bear is named Sam, and they are going out for the day and just doing different little activities together. And you notice as they do the activities together that there's a difference between what Harry is producing and what Sam is producing. And so Harry's always the one that's kind of saying, I'm gonna have the best, or I'm gonna be the winner, or mine is going to look better, or those type of things. And Sam, it just goes along and says, yes, let's do it. And as you go through the book, Sam continuously keeps putting out better quality things. So whatever they're doing, they were making crowns, and Sam's crown looked way better than Harry's crown. And you start to notice as the book goes on, more and more of a crowd starts to gather around them. And the crowd keeps saying how awesome the products are that Sam does, or whatever the activity is that Sam does. And so it starts to build up, and Harry starts to feel a certain way about it. And so Harry starts to get mad at Sam. And so Harry tries to outdo Sam, and he does something in the book that makes everyone kind of look at him like, why did you do that? What's going on? And then he storms off and says, I'll play by myself. And so Harry starts to spend time by himself, and he is trying to have fun, but he realizes that he misses his friend. And so he realizes that he hasn't been a really good friend, and that in actuality, Sam was not against him. So Harry storms off and he says, I'm going to do this all by myself. I don't need you, type of situation. And Sam is left pondering what happened. He's confused because he was just playing with his friend. And then Harry goes off and he plays by himself, and he's doing activities by himself. And he realizes as he's doing all these activities, and he realizes that he's the king of all these activities and he's the quote unquote best at these activities, that he actually misses his friend. And it shows that Sam misses his friend too. And so they end up reconciling at the end, but it's a great book to talk to kids about different emotions. And so I would actually go through this book by talking about the characters, asking, what do you think Harry felt when he saw Sam's crown, or different things as they go through the different activities? I would ask those type of questions. What do you think Sam is feeling towards Harry? I would want to point out to the kids that are reading this book how the different emotions that are being felt is processed differently by different people. So while Harry is looking at Sam's and he sees that Sam's is better, and that the crowd is actually saying that Sam's is better, what are the emotions that he's feeling? And this is a great opportunity to talk about jealousy, and how jealousy is a natural human emotion. A lot of people feel jealousy, but we don't have to feel jealousy. We don't have to respond in that manner. And that actually, when we do respond in that manner, when we do respond with jealousy, that really tells us a lot about ourselves. For example, when I feel full, when I feel good, when I feel self-confident, and someone does something, I don't feel threatened by that because I'm secure in what I do. But if I am shaky in what I do, if I'm questioning my place and I see someone outshine me and I think that they have place and I think that they are seen as special, then I might start to feel jealous because they have something that I don't have and I want it for myself. So so it's a great opportunity to talk to kids about how when we start to feel jealousy, what can we do to deal with that jealousy? Do we go and storm off and in relationships because we're jealous of our friend that maybe is a better artist than us? We talk about those things because this helps kids navigate interpersonal relationships. So asking them, what would you do if you felt jealous of a friend? Have you ever felt jealous of a friend or a family member? Because sometimes this happens among siblings. But to have that conversation about how someone can be better at something than you, but it doesn't take away your value. You're still loved, you're still valuable, even if you're friends with someone who's a better athlete or a better artist or someone who achieves more than you. It's always good to explain to kids how they matter to you, even when they're not achieving, even when they're not the best, even when they're not the top of the class, because we don't want these conditions of worth to be something that they internalize and they start to think that they have to achieve in order to be loved. Because we want them to know that they are worthy whether they achieve or not. And we want them to achieve things in life, absolutely, but we want them to achieve from a place of knowing their own worth and not doing it out of compensation, not doing it out of this drive, this incessant drive to try to hide the fact that they don't feel like they're worthy. So if we can start to build into our children this identity of worthiness, that they are loved and that their love does not waver based on if they achieve or not, then they're more willing to take risks and fail and learn from those failures, and they'll get even better at whatever they're doing. So this is a great book to talk about friendship, to talk about, was Harry being a good friend to Sam when he stormed off? Was he being a good friend to Sam if he couldn't celebrate Sam's achievements because he was only thinking about what he was doing and how people were viewing what he was doing as compared to Sam? Another thing to talk about is, did Sam mean Harry harm? Did he ever want Harry to feel bad? If you go through the book, Sam was very encouraging through the whole ordeal, but Harry couldn't see that because he was so busy listening to the crowd that he didn't actually understand that he had a good friend by his side and that his friend was just having fun and doing his best. His friend Sam was actually cheering him on, even though Sam was doing better according to the crowd. So it's something to talk about with kids about, what makes a good friend. If a friend is trying to constantly show you up and they're putting you down, then maybe that's not a good friend. But if there's a friend who constantly shows you up, but they're constantly encouraging you to do better and they're constantly cheering you on and they're your biggest fan, then maybe it's not them that makes you feel like they're achieving more than you, but your own feelings and your own insecurities that are making you feel that way. I love at the end that they are reconciling, and it's a great conversation to have with your kid about, would this be something that you could do to a friend if you were trying to say sorry, if you were trying to reconcile? What do you think would have been a better way? What would you need if a friend hurt your feelings? What would you want to hear from your friend, or what would you want to receive from your friend in order to reconcile? And if you remember from the last video, we talked about how sometimes we're asking questions to teach. We want to hear their answer and then we're going to teach it. Teach them the right way, the proper response, what to look for, all of those good things. And then sometimes we're just asking questions to collect information. We just want to know how they think. We just want to know what they understand about the world around them. And so this is a great question to just collect information. How do you want to be apologized to? When someone hurts your feelings, how would you want them to respond to you? How would you want to make up? Would you be able to forgive? This is a great book to start talking about forgiveness. And so I love this book because it really helps people to really recognize major themes. So themes of jealousy, themes of friendship, themes of reconciliation or forgiveness. That is awesome to start talking to your child about so that they can start recognizing these things in their relationships, especially if they're school age, because they're navigating these type of things. Sometimes their feelings are hurt by a friend that did it intentionally. That friend was trying to hurt their feelings, like calling them a name. And then sometimes a friend hurts their feelings because they did something that they didn't intend to hurt your feelings. Like maybe they chose another friend to sit with at lunch and that hurt your feelings, but they didn't do it on purpose. And so these are great conversation starters so that you can start having conversations about how to navigate things like that. What makes a good friend? What is something that has hurt your feelings in the past? And how did you make up with that friend? And if you didn't make up with that friend, what could that friend do to show you that they are a good friend and that they're sorry? And how could you make up? I love this book because it really shows how sometimes we're hairy. We're hairy in life, and we're going around and we're only thinking about ourselves, and we're only talking about how great we're going to be. And then when we see that we don't achieve that, and we meet someone who actually does better, we don't respond with, wow, that's awesome, I have a new standard to try to work up to. We actually respond with jealousy, because now we feel like our status has been questioned, or our status has been attacked, or our status has been taken. And so this is a great way to start dealing with that before they grow up and they're an adult that cuts off every relationship that has just a small amount of conflict. We don't want that. Those are individuals who usually are lonely in their life. So to have rich, meaningful friendships, you have to be able to navigate conflict. To have a healthy marriage one day, you have to navigate conflict. And so if we are able to give those tools to our children, we're setting them up to have richer relationships and to be happier overall. I love at the end that Sam asks Harry, "Where's your crown?" Because Harry, in a fit of rage, throws it out. And he says, "I don't have it anymore." And Sam gives him his crown. And he tells him at the end what Harry is really good at. And so it really shows how the anger that Harry had was really coming from inside. It wasn't because he was having a response to Sam doing something malicious. It was really just Harry's own insecurities. And so this is a great opportunity to talk about that with kids, how sometimes what we're feeling on the inside, we project it out or push it out on other people. Another thing is that a good friend will always celebrate you for what you're good at, even when you can't find it yourself. So Harry wasn't thinking about what he was good at. He kept focusing on the areas where Sam was better, and he was feeling bad about that. But Sam at the end of the book says, hey, there's something that you are good at. And even though it may have not turned out how you wanted it to when you first did it, you are awesome at this. You are the king of it. And so it is a really great way to show kids how a good friend should behave, and how sometimes we're not so good of a friend, and we need help with that by being able to recognize those emotions, identify them, and call them out. So I hope you guys check out this book. If you do, let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Happy reading.